So tonight we will review. We'll begin with the review, and if you have any questions regarding anything that was brought up in the past, please feel free to ask. We talked about the tarot is divided into the major arcana, the 22 major cards, we call the major arcana, and the minor arcana, which is divided into 4 suits, the wands, cups, swords, and pentacles, or coins. And these represent 4 basic elements: fire, water, air, and earth. And we talked about the attributions to these elements, to these suits. Element of fire, passion, energy, creativity, the spark that begins things. So when I put my tarot decks in order, I usually like to start with the suit of wands. And I go in this order. Next is water. The cups, the suit of cups, which is the element of water. So this is the heart. Now in the regular playing cards, it's seen as the hearts. Wands are clubs. So water is the heart, the emotions, the free-flowing feelings that we feel. And so this is your feelings, your emotions, your sensitivities. Next is the swords, which is the element of air, is attributed to the suit of swords. This is the area of the intellect and the mind, the mental field, communication, and the more intellectual, mental attributes. And the suit of pentacles, which relates to the element of earth. The body, your health, your home, your job, your money. And these are 4 cores of the human system, the human being. We have our fire, we have our creativity and our passion, our energy. We have our emotions, we have our intellect and our mental abilities, and we have our physical selves. So these 4 elements combine in a mixed way in the court cards. We call the court cards, or the honors. They're sometimes called the honors or the courts. Each suit has 4 court cards. There are 16 total. We have 4 kings, 4 queens, 4 knights, and 4 pages. So of course, in the suit of wands, we have a king, queen, knight, and page, and they all relate to fire. Same with each suit. The king, queen, knight, and page of cups relate to the field of emotions and feelings. The king, queen, knight, and page of swords relate to the mental abilities, and with the earth, the king, queen, knight, and page of earth. One way of looking at the court cards and getting an idea of the characters, the personalities that these represent. This is not the only way, but this is one way of reading it. All the kings can be seen as fire. All the queens can be seen as water. All the knights, air, swords. And all of the pages, earth. Now an interesting thing here is what we have is a balance of what we would say is masculine and feminine energies. This is not to say it's a sexual or gender issue, but the positive, active force and the feminine or the passive receiving force, which in many Asian systems, what we get from China and Korea, we often see as what we say the yin-yang in English. I don't know if this is the correct pronunciation, but it's the totality, the whole. You can't have all light, and you can't have all dark. Each receives the other. And this is the interrelationships that we see in here. So fire is active, masculine. Water is feminine, passive or receding. Swords are also active, masculine. And earth is feminine and receding. So we have this interpenetration. So all the knights are fire, we could say. But that's not to say that when we see these cards in a reading, we often see these as people in our lives. Family members or co-workers or anyone that we can meet, a person. A woman could be a king of wands. A man could be a queen of cups. It's not a gender issue. Don't get stuck on that. You know, there could be a man who relates more to a queen of cups type of figure, or a woman who's more of a king of swords kind of figure. So we don't have to look at the king and say that must be a man. It could be a woman in our life also, and so on with each of these. And so we could say the king of wands, he's the fire of fire, because wands are fire. The king of swords, he would be the air of fire. So he's fire, but he's the air element. This is this kind of interpenetration of these elements. So we have this variety of 16 personalities. So yes, he's active, strong, masculine, the fire, but he's definitely using it up here in the intellectual field, in the mental realm. Whereas the King of Pentacles, he's in this active fire role, the creative driving force, but it's more of towards the earthly issues, money, business, home and health, the body. And so the King of Cups, we could say he may be a passionate man, who is active and creating in the world, but he creates from his heart, out of his emotions. And we could read it this way, through each of these characters. So, Queen of Swords, we could say she's the water of air. Swords are air, but she's the water of the air family, of the Swords family. So she's maybe a little more, how should we say, a little not as severe as the King of Swords. She's a little more forgiving and a little more introspective. So, any questions so far? Yes?
There is a major arcana cards, so that you said 16 cards toward us something. So usually the 22 cards only fortune telling.
Ah,
No.
for fortune telling.
Or something. Major arcana is
The major arcana.
22 cards.
22.
Yes, so there are lots of meaning, mixing meaning. Meanings. So we can find that what should I do or in my future or something from them. Only them.
Only
Them, 22 cards.
Only the 22 major arcana.
No.
I would say you can do a reading using only the major arcana. I would say it depends on the kind of reading you're doing, what you are reading for, what is the main reason for your reading, what are you looking into. But as the four suits tend to relate to areas of our existence, these relate to, my creative field, my emotional field, and so on. And these happen, and in their suits, the ace through 10 of each suit, these are experiences and conditions of our daily life. Everybody can cycle through these in their life, all of the cards. The 22 major cards, however, these are greater mysteries. So these are quite heavy, I would say. If you're doing a reading about looking for a new job, I wouldn't use only the major arcana, generally. But you might, if you were doing just drawing one card, like, oh, you know, I need an inspiration for today for job hunting, and oh, death comes up. Change, I must transform, or something like that as a kind of a call. Or you could draw 3 cards to help you in your job hunt, if that is the thing. So yeah, you could do that, but it's nice to incorporate the whole field of 78 cards. But I think it's fun to play. And there are no rules that say you must use all 78. If you want to focus on the major arcana, and I think when you're starting with the tarot, it's best to focus on the major arcana at first, and to just look at them, and look at the images, reflect on them. You can look at the book that comes with the cards and see the keywords, but it's also best to interpret what you feel, what you see, and write that down. Keep a journal, like we mentioned. That way you can get to know the cards, get to know the images, and how they speak to you personally from your experience. But as we say in English, there's a kind of a proverb, or kotowaza, is if we say you're not playing with a full deck, it means you're not quite balanced up here. So I kind of remember that, so I like to keep all 78 cards when I do a reading. Otherwise I'm not playing with a full deck. I'm not, the porch light is on but nobody's home kind of idea. It's funny.
Too much for me. 78 cards is too much.
78 cards is too much, yeah. And like I said, if you wanted to, you could focus on, if you just had a question about a relationship, you could just take the suit of cups. Just those 14 cards, if you include the court cards, or just the ace through 10. At first, if you wanted to, you can divide it up. You can arrange it. You can choose cards and lay them out and focus on those. Choose it as a focus for one day or 1 week. That's fine.
I'm worried about to study and the memory all cards. So it needs so long years, not days, long years. So I can't be patient. So 22 cards are too much, of course, but it's a little bit be able to get it.
Yeah. Don't try to learn it all in 1 week or 1 month or even 1 year. You know, I'm still learning it. I'm doing this since I was a teenager, and I'm still learning all the time, going deeper and going deeper, finding new things I didn't notice in some of the images. And I think, what does that remind me of personally? Not just what the book tells me it means, but what it reminds me of. That is key, because when you're doing a reading, and reading for yourself is the best way to get in touch with the cards. Before you read for another person, you should first read for yourself, because you are the reader and you are the inquirer. So you really are going inside yourself quite deeply when you are reading for yourself at first. And then you really get to a feel for the cards too. And you can build up your own list of associations with this suit or this card, what it means to you. Yeah. So I think it's best to spend a lot of time, at your own pace, and don't push too hard to studying, really. I think it's better to just play with the cards and open up to the image that you see. That's a great way to learn, really. I think maybe the best way to learn is to just open up to the image. I didn't do that when I was a teenager. Every time I turned a card over, I was looking in the book, and, you know. But after a while, you don't have to use the book so much, and you learn to read symbols what do these symbols mean? And each card is full of symbolism, right? There's so much you can read into one card. You can go very, very deep with one card. One card could be a book in itself. A whole story could be in there. But you could also see one card as like one word. And then when you're laying out 2 or 3 cards, you're making a sentence. Then when you lay out 10 cards or 15 cards, you're telling a story. Really.
If you play the card, when you play the card, each time your imaginations are different sometimes.
Yes.
Same cards, of course, but first time and second time, the different imagination.
A different idea will come to you, yes, a different meaning, and that's good. It's not good to be stuck into a list of, this card has only 5 words, and that's it. That's not good. You have to build up, you have to open up to all possibilities. And that takes time, and getting familiar with your cards, and what this does by playing with the cards by yourself is you're increasing your intuition. Okay, intuition.
Intuition.
Chokkan.
Chokkan.
Chokkan. You are improving your intuition. You are making it stronger. And that's a key point to reading the cards. Intuition is the key point, because when we sit down and if I'm reading the cards for you, it's my subconscious is making a bridge with the cards to your subconscious. And through this language of symbols, we can find meaning, and we can direct that into our lives, into our choices.
It's good.
Yeah.
To memory, the words and meanings are so difficult, not interesting so much.
Right, I agree. And if it's not interesting, if it's not interesting for you, then why do it, right? So I want you to do it and to enjoy it. So do it your way. You're not stuck with any book. The tarot cards are hundreds of years old, and there are hundreds of ways of interpreting them. So there's no one way.
Okay.